Forgot to turn my lights on. Okay. Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Hello.
Yeah. Having a problem getting into Twitch today.
You can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I was pretty sure I got my microphone and earphones set up this time, in advance this time, but I wasn't positive.
Your voice sounds tinny though.
That makes no sense.
Sounds like you're using a tin cup and a string.
I just moved my microphone a bit closer, so we'll see how that works. Whew.
Okay, that's weird.
What's that?
I'm listening to the Twitch feed
Yep.
and your voice on Twitch sounds fine. But on
Okay.
Skype it sounds tinny.
Oh, that we can live with. That's a heck of a lot better than the other way around.
Exactly. Can you hear me munching in your ear?
Say again?
Can you hear me munching in your ear?
No, but then the music is going to be covering up an awful lot of that.
Okay. No, I'm snacking on a lunch here, so I'm gonna mute the mic, but I'll still hear you.
Yep.
Morning.
Hello, Susan.
Hello.
Hi, Susan.
Hello there, Murphy. And Arte, is he AFK?
No, he's got his microphone turned off because he's eating at the moment.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna get some coffee.
Mm.
Did you get your package yesterday okay?
No, that's the post office, so it's a given that they'd be late. It's supposed to be delivered sometime today.
Oh, fantastic.
I was kind of hoping that for once they'd be on time, but that didn't pan out very well. So.
Well, I opened the box lid, but I never actually removed anything from the box, so I'm assuming the condition's brand new?
Probably. I was hoping to actually
order?
show it on today's stream, but it looks like that's not going to work out since it hasn't arrived yet.
Right. Let me see. You should be getting notifications, though. I signed you up for the notifications.
Yes, you did. Yes, I am. That's why I know it's supposed to be out for delivery today.
There we go. Out for delivery at 6:11 a.m.
Yep. It'll probably show up sometime either while we're on the air or else perhaps after the stream, today's stream.
Okay.
I forget exactly when, on average, the postal delivery worker shows up around here.
Right.
As it is, I do have something to show off on the screen today. Say last month I showed you my computer desk and how it was set up and how many monitors I had. Well, that's almost completely changed from the last time, from last month, because my computer desk was getting worn out, and I needed to replace it. And while I was at it, I decided to spiff things up a bit.
Nice.
As a matter of fact, let me grab the camera here and see if I can get this thing far enough over to where I can point things out. Okay. So if I turn...
There's my infamous coffee mug. Okay.
Right. There's my microphone and the television set I have hooked up to the computer right now.
Is it bolted to a stand?
It has a separate stand of its own off to the side there.
Oh wow. Okay.
And
that's a TV set. Okay.
Yeah. And then my computer monitor is now on a boom arm so that I can fit my camera underneath it and above the
okay.
Say on the desk. And then notice I don't know if you can see it very well, but my mouse and my key and my mouse pad both have colored lights in them.
Yeah.
And they're actually changing color in time.
Yeah, the red.
They're actually changing in time with my computer. So if you see that's purple or red or whatever, and now that is. And if I go back here, it's blue now, and so is the mouse and mouse pad.
Okay.
That's a separate mouse that's hooked up to one of my laptops, so it's flashing different colors. Colors in a different pattern. And I now have another monitor sitting right there next to my main one.
Oh my gosh.
So that's Right now I have 1, 2, counting this notebook, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 monitors active at the moment.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how you do it. Now, is that wood paneling in the background on your walls?
Sort of. It's
Okay.
it's actually just a kind of veneer over whatever it is underneath.
Oh, okay.
But it's actually patterned with hunting scenes from whoever put that in.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So
yeah, I see big.
There's
pictures,
a pheasant
yeah.
in that shadow.
Okay, I see his little.
And then if you look there, there's a deer.
Okay. Oh, next to a tree.
Yeah.
Cool.
But that's my keyboard tray that I added on. So.
Okay, so your desk is just a regular. It's not a computer desk. It's like a conference table
This
desk.
This is definitely a computer desk. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's L-shaped.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
That's what you said. You were going to buy an L-shaped one.
Right. As a matter of fact, I forgot to turn on. I think, or did I? Okay, there they are. Yeah. Say, if you look underneath this top, this here, here we go. I actually, under this top part that my monitors sit on and the computer's sitting on, there's actually a light strip that also changes colors.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Oh my gosh.
So like I said, I added a lot of bling to the setup.
My computer's just on like a conference table desk.
Yep.
Like 6 feet long, 2.5 or 3 feet deep. Something sturdy.
Anyway.
Because my printer's on top of it.
Mm.
And then my computer's on like a little small wood bookshelf. It's not big, but it's functional. Bless you.
Yeah.
Okay, time for me to get coffee.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I'm nervous about that package is I hope they didn't install batteries into that book, that talking book. They wouldn't have installed batteries in there, right?
Probably not. They'd be sitting off to one side if you never opened it.
Okay, good. I was afraid you get it and you get like corroded batteries or something.
I'm not too worried about it.
Expecting Zeke today?
Well, he did answer the email, but I don't know. He's Zeke, so you never quite know if he's going to show or not.
Right, you said he's like a cat. He wanders in when he wants to.
Pretty much. Oh, the other thing that I did besides the stuff I just showed you is I went out and bought a couple of home studio fill lights that I've currently got set up, and the only thing is that I don't know why, but this month's glitch, the problem that's cropped up unexpectedly, is if you look at the stream window, you'll notice that in the little box that my camera take, or my camera window, the chroma key isn't working quite right, so you can actually see the background that I'm sitting in is lighter than the stuff around it, which it shouldn't be. That should be invisible.
I'm in the kitchen, so I'll look at it when I get back.
Okay. But that's the little problem I've been dealing with this morning. So the idea that something is not quite right is definitely there. So I'm not breaking tradition here.
Yeah, and it's best to get your glitch of the day out of the way before the tour starts, right?
Yeah, in this particular case, I don't know of any way to solve the problem. Okay, that's over there.
How many monitors do you have, Murphac?
Sorry?
How many computer monitors do you have?
I have two. Because I have
Only
my
two?
laptop and a desktop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I will have to change my desktop to computer.
Oh,
So
you-
maybe
you-
Larry can help me with that.
Oh, there you go.
Can maybe
You'll end up with
some-
5.
Yeah.
3 desktop
You
monitors
get
and 2
a good deal
notebooks.
on 3 monitors.
Yeah. Actually, what happened is that I wanted to have a larger monitor with an increased size. So what I did, I had a 1020p monitor before, which is
You're
the one that's
cutting
now. I had a 1020p monitor before, which is the one that's now sitting off to my right-hand side. The new monitor that I'm using, which is the center one, that one is 2K. And then my television set is 4K. So that's how I ended up with the 3 monitors, is because I want the television set because I have a friend who comes over every Sunday to watch videos with me, and we do that on the television set. And then I wanted more real estate for programs on my main monitor, which is why I got the 2K. And
Sorry, Larry, you're still cutting out.
And the 1020 monitor, HD, was the one that I started out with. Zeke is in the hood with us, even if he isn't logged into Skype.
It's boot, don't work.
There is another thing I'd like to actually go to in 45 minutes into the tour. Would it be feasible for me to be able to leave then? Zeke, are you able to stay for the full tour? Wait for Zeke to get set up.
Mm-hmm.
Zeke? Never mind. He's doing something.
I guess.
So this page you have open, that is not from your website, is it? The fungal age of Teledahn, blah blah blah.
Oh no, that's my background picture. For the that's a photograph from my concept art folder.
Concept art folder. Oh, okay. So where did you get? Is this from a magazine?
I'm not quite sure what they made this for, but it's in the folder.
Okay. A fungal age. An apt description.
That's actually, I put that up because it's a fun bit of the history of the making of it. It also contains a bit of information that I don't include in the tour script, so. Because I don't actually have anything, I believe, as far as how the programming was done as part of the tour. So I thought this would be a good idea to go ahead and feature that as the background on the stream. Oh, there's
This
Zeke.
Josh person. This is Josh's last name.
Josh Staub, I think his name is.
Says it's his favorite age.
If I remember correctly, Josh Staub was one of the artists that they contracted to help them create the game.
Oh, okay. Because he's talking about textures, so that makes
Yeah.
Staub, I think, is his name. 4 years ago, Okay, so just a short blurb about Teledahn. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Zeke? Okay, he's not there again.
He was a moment ago.
I know, I heard him. Oh, he's muted. I can see in
Ah.
Skype he's muted. Not many people on my buddies list are online.
Right now, we have 11 people watching the stream.
Oh, okay, good. Oh, Baron 3D is watching. Ashtonia Melvonius. Is watching. Saying hi. And there's this Pretzel Rocks guy. He just keeps spamming. Just kidding. Someone should roll a tune named Pretzel Rocks. Or, well, no, probably maybe a copyright infringement or something.
Actually, those are the song titles that I'm playing in the for right now. Oh, there's Darlene.
I was just gonna ask you, has Darlene popped her head in yet? Hello, Mawa. You feeling better, Mawa?
Richard, her son, is actually in the middle of putting his house up for sale and moving to Idaho, of all places.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that last month.
Yeah. Well, this month he's actually putting the house up for sale, so he's getting all that done and the place cleaned up and everything.
Yeah. Maybe some improvements to make it more sellable and whatnot.
I don't think he'll have a problem selling it because he's had plenty of offers in the past to buy it.
Oh, okay.
And those were unsolicited ones.
Nice. It took me a couple months to get my condo fixed up. And it was a really small condo, but it needed a lot of work. I had never, spruced it up when I was living there for 32 years.
I've never really seen the point of a condominium myself. Say, all the disadvantages of having an apartment building, except that you theoretically own it, except that you don't, because you still have to pay fees to live there.
Well, you own the space basically from the paint in. You own the airspace. But it's nice because you don't have someone else is responsible. Well, you pay for it and your dues, but someone else fixes the roof and maintains the grounds, and there are community aspects like that.
But you're still paying for it. Yeah, you're still paying for that in fees, service fees.
Well, in HOA dues, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
It's also less expensive than a house. The purchase price is less expensive than a house. And some houses have Melrose that you have to pay.
That's probably the only real advantage to it, because it's the only place that you buy and then pay and still wind up paying for every month.
Yeah, but you're not paying for the real property. You're paying the dues for the upkeep of the real property. So when you own a house,
and the point is that you still have money going out. So what's the point?
Well, you do for a house too. If your roof needs repair, you pay for roof repair. If you need plumbing repair, you pay for plumbing repair.
But not every month.
Well, I mean, the HOA doesn't pay for it every month either.
How often?
Anyway.
No, they don't pay for it.
You pay the dues.
You pay the dues every month. That's what I'm saying.
Right, but theoretically a homeowner would be putting money away in savings every month for when there is a plumbing repair, a roofing repair, and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it for 32 years, but now that I'm in a house, I much, much, much prefer the house. I was ready to move into a house.
Yep.
But for the 32 years I lived there, it was perfect for me. For my lifestyle. Mama needs to go to stomach specialist. That's sad. She says Richard's house has a beautiful view.
Yep. And it'll be a unique one as soon as he puts in the water features for the where he's going to keep his laser sharks.
Oh. course, you'd have to be a huge pond, I guess. Salt water.
Also,
Gotta make sure that
of course, he was
are
also
closed so they don't get floated by the salt water.
Of course, he was also talking about setting aside part of the property for ninja attack squirrels.
Oh, ninja attack squirrels? Well, you just infect it with rabies. I think that's all you need to do there. Oh, my dog wants me to feed him. I'm sorry, pup.
You've got 4 minutes yet.
I'm back.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Unfortunately, I am not at my computer because my wife decided, or my sister-in-law decided to call my wife. They're having a conversation in the other room where the computer is.
Well, all your knowledge is in your head, right, Archie?
That's right, by golly. Such a story.
You don't read from notes.
Actually, you are correct. I do not read from notes.
Oh, no, you do. You read from in story time? Story night?
Oh, story night. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
But for the cabin tours, I don't have any notes pulled up. It's just memory from all the stories I told and retold and retold.
Not to mention the fact that recently we've been meeting most months to talk over my notes before the tour, so he at least generally has an idea of what I'm going to say.
Right.
I'm back. Can everyone hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Bye.
Yes. Thank goodness. Zeke, are you going to be here for the whole tour? Because I might want to leave.
Yeah.
45 minutes into it with Larry's permission.
Yep.
Yeah, I should be here for this whole one.
Okay.
So.
Alright, let's see. Let me try to herd cats here.
Okay, I just killed the music, so...
Do you want to wait a few minutes before, or do you want to just go?
No, we still have another minute before the tour officially starts.
Okay.
And I need to turn on the game, don't I? Or I should say this. The picture, I should say. There we go.
Let me make sure everyone in the hood logged into Twitch. Looks like we have some newcomers. Welcome to Janu, sorry if I mispronounced that, and Twilight. My Quest, I think you've been here before, but not. If not, welcome. Robert Holt, welcome back. I think you were here last month.
Okay. I didn't recognize his name, so I was wondering myself.
Yeah, I think his first time was last month. And then the old standards. Death Kalan, Ural, Jafe, Minacinda, and Thoe. Thokanem.
Thoakenem.
Thoakenem, which means...
How are you?
What in Denis? How are you in Denis?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Give it a few
And
minutes and then we can
no,
go.
actually, this is 12:01 now, so we can start.
Okay, you want to go ahead? All right. I want to thank everyone for coming to the cavern tours. We will we go behind the history of each age that we go to. So we try our best to be spoiler free, but some ages will not be spoiler free. So be sure to kind of complete the game. Um, the second thing is in your audio settings, which is your wrench tool at the bottom low corner, go to your audio and turn down ambient sound, music, and sound effects to be able to hear Larry. Also, have your game in window mode um, so that we will be switching between Twitch and the game to show extra content. Also, keep there will be places for questions. Try to keep the questions related to the age because some questions might be answered in a later tour. The second is to be able to friend Microbot so that you key him because we'll be using the bot to go to these ages. Also, try not to climb or do climb ladders or uh, stuff like that because it can cause the game to crash. So mere our Meerfect will be able to warp us to where we need to go. So no climbing ladders or no climbing in general. The Trying to think of the other one. There's something important I can't remember now.
Actually,
Well, don't climb any ladders or touch any machinery because it might
Yeah.
actually evict us from the age, crash the age.
Friend Microbot.
Just let
the only other
Murphax Mirabot warp us around.
the only other thing that you're probably trying to think of is no longer valid, Zeke, and that was staying within chat range because now that we're now that we're using the stream for audio, that no longer applies. They can hear me no matter where they are.
Plus, you made me remind me of something. So if you crash, be sure to link into back in with Microbot and then PM him, find Larry, and it will join with the group. Try to stay with the group as we go, as we're discussing each section, basically. And if there's anything I'm missing, Larry or Susan, let me know.
That's it. We're done. Okay.
All right.
And welcome to today's tour. In order to begin, we're going to PM link to Mirrobot in order to go to where we need to be. MyQuest, that's a consistent error that Zeke has always made. It is Mirrobot, not Microbot.
Sorry.
No, that's just you being you. So go ahead and type the word link as a private message to Mirrobot and we'll get started. Okay. Murphac, if you could, we need the platform on the top of this mushroom stalk to start out with.
Yes, I just want to wait. Everybody is here.
Good enough.
All right, we're all here.
It's going to be a couple of moments. He's having to build a platform for us to stand on where I want to start out. So he'll warp us up to it as soon as he's done making it.
Oh, your package was just delivered, Larry.
Oh. That's strange. I didn't hear anyone knock on the door. Well, I'll go take a quick look to see what about that while we're waiting for Mirfbot to make the platform.
Mhm.
It arrived all right. The
Yay.
postman left it on my front porch in front of the front door, which is something that we never use.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, here it is.
Yay.
And
it looks like it's still 3-dimensional instead of 2-dimensional.
Yep.
Yeah, this is one of those unboxing videos you see on YouTube.
Yeah.
I bought a new vacuum cleaner.
Let's
Watch me
see.
unbox and assemble it.
Larry, thank you for your dedication to the Moolah community, Susan. Okay, so let's set that aside for the moment. And then Susan was kind enough to donate to me the 25th anniversary collection boxed set. So these, I think, are the game discs.
Yes,
And then, oh great, it's one of these ones with the styrofoam that falls apart at the merest hint of a touch. And then, let's see what we got here. And there we have...
If you open the book, you'll hear the Myst theme.
That's if the batteries are hooked up. I don't believe they are in this one. I'm a little surprised that the pages before the view screen are actually blank. And then, let's see. It's this one.
Yeah, I told Larry, I mean, I got this 5 years ago. The most I got was to open the flaps, and I never actually removed anything to actually look at it because I didn't want to disturb the packaging.
Okay, there's the USB cable to charge it. Yes, and this is something that I was looking forward to. And here I have some assembly required, but this is the Gens inkwell from Riven.
Ooh, I'm jealous.
Yeah. His little legs. And then I'm not quite sure what this handle's for. But there's the body of it. And then there's the base. With something written in Denis, I'm going to have to find out what that says when I have a bit of time to look it up. And then screws to put it all together. So, next time...
Now, the question is, did it come with writer's ink?
Does it come with a beetle? Is there a live beetle in that box somewhere?
Oh dear.
Considering how long you had it without opening it, he wouldn't be live now.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Oops,
So
I
that
forgot
means
to put
next
lettuce
month,
in there.
of course, I'll have that fully assembled and I'll show it to everyone. Now, as far as today, welcome to Teledahn. Teledahn is one of the 5 ages that were chosen by Yisha to be part of her Path of the Hand journey. She chose it because of its history just before the fall of Denis, which she twisted to fit the narrative she wants explorers to believe. Yisha left a book in Relto that contained quotes from Regeltav Ahurpa, which means the writing of Vorpa. She chose quotes from that prophecy to set a tone for the ages she was sending explorers to visit. The quote she chose for Teledahn was Book 9, Entry 221, Item number 29. And that, here we go.
The truth of a man is found in the darkness beneath the surface. Some light might reveal only what some men want to be seen. The truth of a man...
Okay, did you hear that? Hello?
Hello. Sorry.
I was just wondering, I just played a audio clip and I was wondering if everyone heard it. Okay, Janue says yes. So, when the explorer completed the journey in Teledahn, he or she was sent to the Redena Barrow cave in order to hear this speech.
Did you see the hidden caves and the cages? It is where the proud would keep the least. The least were only animals, after all. Animals that could blink. They could be put to work or play. They could ease the burden of the proud and fill their free time with entertainment. Quietly as Denise slept, their lives were taken because the proud make the rules. This wasn't the first time such a blasphemy was part of Denis. The histories whisper of it, like Fatug the Ager or King Asimlef. And even in this age, it may not be the last. Did you see the hidden caves and the...
Sorry, didn't get to that in time. Anyway, there are no available texts to tell us who Fatug the Ager was, or what it was that he did. But we do know the story of King Asimlef thanks to a DRC notebook. The passage that Yesha was referring to in her speech was this one. Though never stated publicly by Asimlef, common opinion and historical records point towards numerous servants being used by Asimlef, most brought from outside ages, more so were the apparent challenges Asimlef held with these servants. Details are hard to find, but it seems as though these challenges ranged from hunts by Asimlef himself to gladiator-style battles between the servants. It should be noted that regardless of what actions occurred, there was little public outcry about them. It's important to pay attention to the specific words that were written in the DRC notebook. The Aratanti, or outsiders, mentioned in it are called servants and not slaves. That implies that they were hired to serve in whatever roles they were, and were not slaves as Isha hinted. They made a choice to do what they did. That's a clue about how Yesha told deliberate and sweeping falsehoods in her speeches. She lied with almost every word she spoke about Teledahn, as she did with many others' ages. Was she a bad person for that? Because of that? Yesha was a complex person. The answer to that is no, not really. Yesha was on a self-imposed mission to free the Barrow from captivity, and lying was one of the few tools that she had to accomplish that mission, so she did so frequently. Yesha was a complex person who suffered terribly for much of her life, and she was a product of a dysfunctional family. Those are some of the things that make reading about her interesting. So what was the real Denis attitude towards slavery? Denis was founded by followers of Guildmaster Rinaref, a man who defied the Rhone king and their guild of writers by refusing to write ages in which they might capture slaves. He founded Denis as a refuge for people who thought the same as he did. The Denis as a people were strongly anti-slavery throughout their entire history. That didn't mean that there weren't times when it happened, but when it did, it was perpetuated by outlaws who were punished when they were caught. Now, getting into the restoration. Teledahn was restored by Douglas Sharper. He had been hired as a contractor and was not a member of the Denis Restoration Council. Sharper was assigned to restore Teledahn on November 14th, 1997, as a reward for having discovered the first linking book to the age, and he began writing a personal journal about his experiences that day. From the very start, Sharper chafed at what he perceived as restrictive, arrogant, and overbearing DRC interference in his work. For reasons that I can't understand yet, he had a chip on his shoulder from the beginning and appears to have interpreted any and all DRC oversight as being hostile to him. His second and third entries in his journal. What's that talking I'm hearing at the moment?
Oh, that's on my end. I'll mute.
Okay, thank you. His second and third entries in his journal show definite signs of of Sharper's attitude towards the DRC. 11/17 of 1997, Kodama popped in, going on about his inspections in his usual arrogant manner. What a joke. November 24th of 97, now it's Watson's turn. Acted as though he was chatting, but I could tell he was looking all over, checking on my progress, or maybe making sure I can be trusted. I'll just get used to it. While working on Teledahn, Sharper found a number of written Denis records and reference books. On February 15th of 1998, he requested help from Dr. Watson to translate the books and papers, and Watson's chief translator was assigned to the job. A problem quickly arose. The translator, who Sharper simply calls Sam, was overloaded with other work, and it took him a long time to get to Sharper's documents. It wasn't until March 25th of 1998 that Sharper mentioned getting anything back, which was the information about why the age was written. Eventually, Sam was pulled from helping Sharper because he was just in too high a demand elsewhere. In other words, about that, Sharper wrote, 4/7/98. Watson told me Sam is too busy to help me. I'm going to have to learn this language myself or find someone who can actually help me. He was saved from having to learn to read Denis when a new translator was hired and assigned to him at the beginning of October in 1998. The new translator was named Nick White, and he wrote about that 10/1/98. The tower is almost working. Needs some tools from the surface. No sign of Shroomy. Met the new guy, Nick. Nice guy. This might be real good. Smart guy. Picking up Denis fast. He's going to keep at it, but I gave him some material to study in the meantime. Sharper liked Nick White as much as he had not liked Sam. Nick returned the friendship and trust Sharper showed him by translating a number of Denis texts for Sharper without reporting them to the rest of the DRC. On March 3rd, 1998, Sharper was the first modern person to see one of the giant arthropods that live in the waters of Teledahn, and it was he who named her Shroomy because of her fondness for eating the giant mushrooms that are found in the lagoon. The name Shroomy first appeared in his journal entry of October 1st, 1998, the same one where he first mentioned Nick White. Work continued, as did Sharper's complaints in his journal, although it wasn't a steady progress since he was occasionally pulled from Teledahn to assist with work in the Denis city. While working on Agata Island in November of 2001, he found a project that interested him. 11201. Victor found some kind of communication device this week. A key, they are calling it. Very interesting device, I have to admit. Victor does seem to know his stuff, at least. Talk to Ingberg about a building in the city that I'd like to have. We'll see. Teledahn was finally brought up to DRC standards on May 25th of 2002. Sharper marked the occasion with this entry in his journal. 5/25/02. Now Phase 5 approval. I've been so angry this past month. I've been ready to throw in the towel and head back up. It's utterly ridiculous what they are doing, the safety requirements they are pulling out. Somebody had better do something before we have an all-out government down here. Although these threads on the forums may be something, the DRC in secret is suspecting Zandy. This could get fun. The project on the island was the Watcher's Pub. Sharper never called it that, simply referring to it as the pub. But as he wrote an entry in his journal that identifies it clearly, if you know that the Watcher's Pub is located in the Chitari district on Agata Island. 10/30/03. It's official. The pub in Chitari is mine. Time to celebrate. Time to prove Kodama wrong. Talking about Teledahn as an age, the name of this age is a portmanteau of 3 Denis words, To, Elamarti, and Nadanets. Loosely translated, that phrase means place of mushroom spores. The age of Teledahn is an archipelago. There are 13 medium to large size islands in the group, as well as a number of small islands and large rocks. Explorers can visit one of the 2 largest islands in the group, and the metal catwalks extend out into the lagoon between it and another large island. In the lagoon, there are several varieties of mushrooms growing, and some are truly gigantic. The northern end of the channel opens onto a bay with clear water that holds a dock, and I refer to that area as the harbor. The southern end of the channel opens into a bay that appears to be filled with a dense matting of plants that reminds me of Sargasso seaweed, but is probably not. There is a map of the age in the harbor office, which we will visit later. From what can be seen on the map, there appears to have been 7 mushroom harvesting areas in the age. 6 of them are highlighted in pale green, and 1 is highlighted in pale red. Broken red lines lead from the red highlighted area to the green ones, which may possibly mean that it was the headquarters of the operation and the place where the spores were shipped to for processing and transport back to Denis. DRC notes indicate that at least one other area of the age, which was going to be called Teledahn II, was intended to be open to explorers, but the work on that was never begun. Let's see here.
So we're on top of a mountain. Which mountain is this?
We are not on top of a mountain. We're on top of a mushroom.
Oh, the main mushroom, like the
This is the
beginning
one.
mushroom?
This is the one where the hut and the office are located. The reason why I had a start out up here is so that this is the best place to get an overview of the age. I was mentioning that it was made up of a number of islands, and you can see just about all of them from up here. Okay. If you look at the stream window, I have a copy of the Teledahn map that I mentioned showing, and you can, and if you look at it, let's see, I don't think you can see my mouse cursor. But if you look at the upper left corner, you'll notice there are the two largest islands on the map. The one on the left is the one where we are right now. Or I should say, we're in the lagoon between those two islands. And where that green patch is between them. Then you'll notice that there are 6 other green patches, which I presume are harvesting areas. And then there's a red patch over almost dead center on the map in the upper half of it. That and that's the area I thought might possibly be colored differently because it's where the headquarters of the operation was.
Someone's asking where you got that map. That's the map on top of Sharper's desk, right? In the Agura.
It is, but it's also here in the Age. It's in the
Teledahn.
harbor. It's in the harbor office in the second giant mushroom that was hollowed out, and we'll be visiting it later in this tour.
Oh, in the room with the chains hanging from the ceiling.
Correct. That's
okay.
Correct. And let's see, where was I? As for the history of the Age, by the way, if you look over at that other, in this direction here, that's the other island that the lagoon lies between. The one that we're on, this one. And by the way, I mentioned that this is a giant mushroom that we're standing on. And if you look over the side, over here, it's a little hard to get a view straight down. But the mushroom cap is lying on its side, half buried in the water, down below here. Say, if you
this
rotate...
has a wall preventing us from going too far, so that's good, so we don't fall off.
The point is that if you rotate your view, your character a little bit, you can just catch a glimpse of the top of it. Okay. As for the history of this age, Teledahn was written in Denis year 8990, and that would have been about AD 1334 on the surface. It was written for the 250th birthday of Grandmaster Hinash of the Guild of Caterers by his friend, Grandmaster Mararon of the Guild of Writers. It was intended to be a rest age for Hinash, but he didn't really like it. And that's possibly because it was quite dark and gloomy. In any case, Hinash didn't spend very much time here. However, a caterer to the core, he did collect samples of the plant life and conducted cooking experiments. He found that the spores from one of the species of giant mushrooms were not only edible, but they were quite tasty, and developed a recipe for spore-flavored bread, which became popular among the Denis elite. The bread was never plentiful because Hinash was working alone, and the spores he used were hand-harvested. That made it an expensive luxury product when he got around to selling any of it. Hinash died in Denis year 9005, or AD 1349, 10 years after Teledahn was given to him. Upon his passing, the age defaulted into the ownership of the Guild of Caterers because Hinash apparently did not have any heirs. The guild made the decision to industrialize the spore harvesting and produce the bread in quantity to try to make this age profitable. Command of the operation was given to a guild captain named Ventus. That decision turned out to be a mistake. There weren't very many of the giant mushrooms that produced the spores used in the recipe, and Ventus seems to have not known how to conserve the available resources. He organized a harvesting operation that exhausted the available supplies of the spores in a short time. Sharper wrote a note about him in his journal. 2699. Ventus maybe wasn't so great after all. Ruined the place. Turned it into what we see now. Explains the differences in early descriptions to the later ones. Seems the age was auctioned off, and that's all of the official records. Nick can share these with the DRC. I don't mind. Rather than wait for the mushrooms to recover and resume production on a smaller scale, the guild put the age up for auction. It remained unpopular, and there's rumor that this descriptive book was once found abandoned in a trash heap. Later, in Denis year 9396, or about AD 1740 on the surface, Teledahn somehow fell into the hands of a man named Monesmo. He announced that he intended to reinstate the spore harvesting operation, which he did. Sharper noted in his journal, 215-2000. This place was owned by a fellow named Monesmo. The man apparently got the place cheap somewhere. He started harvesting the spores again. It seems the age had corrected itself over time. Bread, apparently, they were making. The same delicacy Denis had raved about before. Made a decent amount of money. However, he was doing lots of stuff in the dark. Slave trading. I'm sure Watson would have a fit if he knew about this. His precious Denis. Where they were going, we can't find out, but it explains the cages and the whole backside of the place, really. Hiding from maintainers, I suppose. In other words, The spore harvesting work was a front for an illegal slave trading operation that funneled non-human Aratanti to the age of Rebek. Rumors of his real operation eventually reached the Denis ruling council. They ordered an investigation, and the Guild of Maintainers began looking into it. However, the Maintainers hadn't gotten far with the investigation when the fall of Denis occurred, and that put an end to the investigation, the slave trade, and the government all at the same time. 10/30/2000. Nick has dropped off some more translations. Seems as though a major inspection into the illegal activities was going on immediately before the fall. Doesn't look like they found anything. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is the machinery that you see here. Central to the age is a number of machines installed during the Caterer spore harvesting operation. It's powered by the object that looks like a sun, which revolves around the lagoon. The energy emitted by it is collected via an antenna on a tower and drives a motor in the base of the tower. The motor turns gears that in turn move 3 drive shafts. The first drive shaft leads to a gate mechanism that is installed across the northern entrance of the channel. This was installed to block the path used by the giant arthropod creatures that are native to the age. It was needed because the arthropods were fond of eating the same mushrooms the Guild of Caterers were harvesting spore from. It apparently was unnecessary to install a gate at the southern entrance of the channel, possibly because the arthropods were unable to swim through the seaweed that covers the sea at that end. The second drive shaft leads to the last mushroom that was being harvested. It then links to a work platform and powers a winch that raised and lowered a hoisting bucket. Looking around, you will notice that several of the mushrooms have the remains of cloth canopies around the lower parts of their stalks. The canopies were installed to catch spores that fell before the workers could harvest them. The last drive shaft links to the central tower, which holds the water tank, hut room, control room, and supervisor's office. This shaft is connected to an electrical generator that provides the power needed to operate the lights, elevator, and other devices in the tower, such as the aerial transfer buckets. The offices found in this age all have one thing in common. They were all carved into the stalks of dead giant mushrooms. The central tower is a particularly large mushroom stem with its cap lying half submerged in the water next to it. The tower is comprised of 4 primary levels. Murfact, if you can, please transfer us back down to the office. Thank you.
I gotta get going, guys. So sorry. I look forward to seeing you next month, April 27th.
Okay, and thank you for the Myst anniversary kit.
Oh, you're
Susan.
welcome. And I sent you an email. There should be a pen in there too with the inkwell set.
Okay, I'll have to look around and see what I find, whether or not I can find that.
Okay.
But,
bye, friends.
Yep.
Have fun.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Susan.
Take care, Susan.
Located
Thank you.
above the control room is the supervisor's office. This office would have been used by whoever was in charge of this particular harvesting area, or possibly by Guild Captain Ventus when he visited this work area. Later, it would have served as the public office of Minesmo. During the Restoration, it was used by Douglas Sharper when he was working in this part of the age, and on the table over here to the side, you can see a number of things that he left behind when he was working here. There's, among other things, there is a model of Shroomy, the giant arthropod. There are various documents related to the fish tank that he has in here. And there's also a maintainer's helmet sitting on the edge of the table. In addition, it has windows that are overlook this section of the age, a fish tank containing a miniature Teledahn landscape, a Nexus book, and a hidden linking book to the Baron's office in Agata. The Baron's office, in turn, has a linking book directly back to this office. There is a telescope in the office that has a view of the ridge the energy object in the sky passes in front of, and if you watch, you can see the radiant part of that object pass with the ridge clearly behind it. The view also has a clear shot of a spring-fed stream winding down the slope into a small waterfall. The wooden dock Relto page is located on a broken walkway not far from that waterfall. Something else that you will notice, that the office walls have elaborate decorative designs carved into them, apparently from when the tower was first dug out. Something else you will notice is that there are 4 lamps in the room. Or is it 4 or 2? Anyway, there are several lamps hanging down from the top of the room. You will notice that that they all have the same design on them, and it's the same design that is on the carpet or the rug that's in the center of the floor here. That design is a Denis compass rose. There are 4 more monograms on spaced around both the lamps and the rug that are made for, and those are the words for the 4 cardinal directions: Rima, Vamo, Tima, and Sera, which mean north, east, south, and west, respectively. Note that when the window shutters are raised or lowered, the lamps move with them. That's because the lamps are serving as counterweights for the shutters. Twilight, you're over near that handle for the shutters. Could you pull that, please? And watch the lamps when she pulls it. Okay, go ahead and pull it again. So that's an interesting little detail to note if you've never really paid attention to it before. The fish tank that you find on the other side of the office, right here, was made by a company called Fryman Aquatics and Supply. The name of that company was changed to Fisher Tanks in 2002, and it exists outside the game. Those tanks are still available at http www.fishure.biz. So but of course the real fish tanks don't have the hidden safe built into the base unit. The guy who invented that fish tank, by the way, is currently employed by Cyan Worlds as one of their, I believe that he's the director of operations or something like that. I believe his name is Tony Fryman. Although I didn't write that down in my notes, so I can't be absolutely certain I got his name right. But his company for building the fish tanks is still alive and well to this day. Okay, Murphak, please take us down to the control room. There aren't any fish in that tank. What Douglas Sharper did was take a number of baby flappers and put them in the tank. The tower control room is the third level of the tower. Oops. And I mentioned that part of the thing here, if you look over where I'm standing at this rotating column, this is actually a linkage from that central tower that collects energy out in the middle of the lagoon. The drive shaft that comes off the tower comes to this office up through the floor here, and then at the top you'll see it's connected to the electrical generator that provides all of the electricity for this facility. I'm trying to remember how the controls work. It's been a while. Here we go. There we go. Now that I've got the bucket stopped and the door closed, the spores were dumped onto the grate above a large horizontally mounted fan. That fan sucked them down and into a pair of pipes. The pipes are connected to shafts leading down to the hut room below us. A single worker sitting where I am now could operate the transfer buckets, let water into the tank in the hut room and drain it, turn on the lights for the control room, and unlock the maintenance hatch in the hut. The workers down in the lagoon could also turn on the transfer buckets from their end. With the hatch for the transfer buckets closed, you can see a Denis logo on them. That logo is the insignia of the production facility. It's basically a picture of 3 mushrooms with a monogram of the word Teledahn written below it. If you look at the stream window, I made a copy of the logo just because I like doing that kind of thing, so you can get a clear idea of what it actually looks like. Caver 1, we can't do it, but presumably they did because it was a normal part of the operation that the hut would have to have water pumped out of it and then allowed back in. Okay, let's see. Okay.
Funny observation.
Hmm?
When in your stream, when you're reaching across something on your desk, your avatar starts rubbing the back of his neck.
Hmm. Let's see, I need to stand up. By the way, if you stand over to the side of the grate of this area where the grating is, by the guardrail in first-person view, you can look down and see some of the machinery that was used to blow the spores out of the outward and down into the room below us. I'm not sure if that's something you ever noticed before. Anyway, other than the fact that there are 2 observation telescopes or periscopes that look out onto the work area so that the person up here could see what was going on down there, that's pretty much it for this area. So, Murphac, if you would, please take us down to the hut room. Thank you. This area, of course, is the main link-in area for the majority of Teledahn's linking books. It's located on the second level of the central tower. The hut itself is used for storage and has a hatch covering ladders down to a pumping tank. The hut is suspended over a basin that is normally filled with water. When spores are dropped from on the fan grating in the control room, the fan blew them through pipes and out vents in the ceiling of this room. They fell down into the water below of the saturation basin, as you can see them doing right now. And they become mixed with the water. When the water became saturated with enough of the spores, the person at the control panel in the control room started the next step of the operation. Murphak, if you can, please warp us down into the pumping tank down at the bottom of the ladder. Thank you. Oh, this is the basin. I meant that all the way down into the tank itself below this. Yes, this is the water basin where the spores were mixed with the water by letting them drop into it. Yeah. Please stay off the ladder and let Murphak warp us down to the bottom, because again, when you're in a large group like this, climbing on ladders can get you stuck at the very least, or sometimes even crash the game. Thank you. Now, one thing I'd like you to do while we're down here is look downward at the floor of this tank, and you'll see down there that there is a large square metal grating that leads into a pump. And when the operator in the control room manipulated the control to drain the saturation basin above us, the water would have been pumped down through this grating and out a small pipe. Eventually, it would have traveled all the way out to the loading dock in the harbor. The large pipe in that leads out of this is actually a fill pipe, which allowed water to be put back into this to this area and fill up the saturation basin above us. The ladder, of course, led down into this so that workers could climb down from the saturation basin to perform maintenance. So the water was pumped out through the floor drain. Once the water had been sent on its way, the pump was turned off, and a hatch in the fill pipe was opened to refill the basin. The fresh water flowed in by gravity, since the pump room is below the water level outside of the tower. and they just used the normal water of the age to fill this. Okay, before we continue, it's about time I stopped and to see if anyone had any questions to ask. Oh, I noticed that Koran was making a note that when you're outside the Mushroom Tower, you can't see the windows that are in the control room, and that's quite true. Say, I'm not quite sure why there was that why Cyan made that particular oversight, but it's true that the windows only exist to the outside of the tower only exist from the inside.
Then you have another question. What by Ural?
Mm-hmm.
Why
Yes.
do the buckets look like ice cream onward?
That's just the particular shape that they gave them, because when they put the buckets have a hatch on the bottom that they funnel down to, so that when they get over the grating inside the tower, that hatch drops open and the spores would be able to drop out of the bucket onto the grating. Okay. Going up the fill tube, we have a number of places here where markings were left on the wall. Let's see if I can find them. That's strange. Okay. The water intake tunnel leading from the pumping chamber to the slave cage has 4 patterns of graffiti scratched onto the inside surface, presumably by former prisoners. 2 of the glyphs are reasonably easy to understand, but the first and fourth ones, which are both the same, are not. For an explanation of that glyph, we turn to the work of the Byroglyph Study Group. The Byroglyph Study Group was a subdivision of the Denis Linguistic Fellowship, a group of explorers back in the early days who had a common interest in interpreting the pictographs found scattered around the Denis Empire, most of which were inscribed by the Baro, and which had often been drawn to serve Yisha's purposes. However, the study group's methods were flawed. They apparently went into their studies with a number of preconceptions in mind and ignored anything that contradicted them. Some of the preconceptions seem to have been: 1. That Yisha always told the truth. 2. The Baro inscribed every pictograph found in the Denis Empire. 3. All elements of a pictograph, no matter how small, had to have a meaning. And 4. The meaning of the pictograph elements must be deep and or complex. That resulted in them often overanalyzing pictographs and drawing erroneous conclusions about them. It also resulted in them always interpreting the pictographs in ways that supported what Yisha told explorers. An example of how they tended to overanalyze, let's use the morning eye glyph. The morning eye is what the group called a symbol the Baro frequently drew either near or on their images of themselves. The symbol shows an open eye with 3 lines dropping from beneath it, and is obviously meant as a self-identification for their people. The 3 lines might represent tear tracks, and overall the symbol could indicate sadness or despair. If that's true, then the concept is simple and straightforward. However, one of the founders of both the Denis Language Fellowship and the Baroglyph Study Group, an explorer named Domare, wrote this about it. Quote-unquote, "This multi-layered symbol reifies a variety of ocular functions both on the physical and metaphysical level. It symbolizes physical sight. If the Baro existed as a slave class, they would have observed the Denis in every walk of life, even while they were not seen or not meant to be seen themselves. It symbolizes moral sight. While the Denis either overlooked or thought little of the enslavement of Arotan peoples, the Baro were first-hand witnesses of the darker side of Denis and the injustices of slavery. And it symbolizes mourning over those very injustices. It is a powerful statement that the Baro chose this symbol to represent themselves. Even while the eye is weeping, it is wide open. Sadness and justice exist side by side. Though they were stripped of their freedoms and rights at every level, they cannot be robbed of their freedom to look, to see, to observe. Self-representation through the morning eye is both an act of resistance. The eye stares unflinchingly at its Denis oppressors, and an act of remembrance. The eye pays respect to the troubled and troubling history of the Baro." Unquote. The fact that Domare wrote all of that about what is, in the end, a simple drawing of an eye with 3 lines below it shows how fanciful the group could be in how they analyzed what they saw. There is no evidence or documentation to back up his conclusions whatsoever. He let his imagination run wild, and the result was taken seriously. Because of this, their methods and conclusions cannot be regarded as scientific or unbiased and should be viewed with skepticism. However, They did put a great deal of effort into noting and discussing every possible detail of the glyphs and produced a number of very good observations. So while they may have been fanciful, by no means should their work be discounted. It serves as a good basis for your own research. Back to the glyphs found in the tunnel, the first one, which is later repeated as the fourth symbol, was named the Spiral Cross by the BSG. A member of the group named Deus interpreted it this way. The spiral represents a journey, as it does in Zandi or Yisha's spiral hand symbol. The 4 dots represent the Baro poles, powerful totems for the Baro, representing both their freedom and all that was taken from them. The poles are in their rightful places, surrounding and guarding this journey, shaping it. The 4 spokes represent the fissures at the in the Baro cave floor that divides the cave into its 4 quadrants, one for each age in the journey of the called. The central spire also corresponds to the hole in the central spiral also corresponds to the hole in the Baro cave floor that leads to the cavern below, a vertiginous drop, a leap of faith, and the completion of the journey. As this glyph is found twice in the pipe leading to Teledahn's slave caves, it is likely a representation of hope. For a time when all that has been taken from the Baro will be returned, and when the Baro people will be whole and complete again. And as far as we know, the glyphs in this pipe were not drawn by the Baro at all. So Deus's interpretation is utter nonsense. But no one else has ever proposed a meeting for the symbol, and that's why I'm telling you what he wrote about it. The next glyph to be found in the cave was a drawing of Shroomy, so we'll skip over that one very quickly to go to the last symbol. The last symbol scratched in the pipe shows 3 figures. 2 of them have their ankles chained together, and the third is suspended from manacles. Now that's one of the things that lets us know that this was not drawn by the Baro, because the way the Baro drew figures is nothing like this. As a matter of fact, let me see. I should have some pictures I can show you of this. Oh yeah, I was talking about the morning eye symbol, and that's what it looks like if you're looking at the stream. Okay. This is a drawing that the Baro did of themselves. So if you look at this picture that I have up in the stream window, and then back at the drawings on the wall of this pipe, you will see that that's definitely not the way the Baro drew themselves. the people who were captured and sent to Rebek as slaves were not Baro. Say that's been confirmed. This picture here that I've got up on the stream is from the age of Eder Chemo, and this is a representation of the prisoners. If you look, you'll notice that in the lower hand corner there is that is a borrowed drawing of the prisoners that were kept in the slave cave. You will notice that they have short legs and long arms. You'll also notice that there are what look like, over to the right, upper right, what look like hoof prints with finger marks next to them. And that's because the people who were sent as slaves are captured and sent as slaves, and who you can also see a couple of them lying dead next to the footprints with arrows stuck in them, were, let's see if I can find that picture. Oh yes. This is a map of Rebek, by the way. And this is also shown on the as a borrow drawing in the age of Eder Chemo, although it's been scratched out there. This is what it looks like without the damage to it. Here we go. This is a picture of the people that we think are actually the slaves that were sold here in Teledahn. And again, you'll notice that they have large, flat, round feet, which presumably were represented by the horseshoe-like tracks. And they have three-fingered hands that match up with the finger marks shown next to the next to them in the drawing. Okay. If we exit the pipe and go into the slave cave, the prison cell is a natural cave located in the same island that explorers are taken to when they link into the age. While the Guild of Caterers probably used this as an access to inspect the intake pipe, Myst used it to hold slaves that had been captured to be sold to the secret group of illegal hunters from the age of Rebek. They were victims used as the targets of hunting games by the illegal group and were killed at the end of the games, so they were always in need of new victims. One of the mysteries of the room lies in the pressure plates in the cell itself that operate the doors. They are tied to the same mechanism that is operated by the switches on the wall in the antechamber. There seems to be no reasonable explanation as to why the slave traders would have had such a feature in this cage when they were keeping slaves. Because of that, it's more likely that the pressure plates were added to this cage by Yisha. She was the only person who would have wanted the occupants of the cage to be able to open it from the inside. Yisha claimed in her Teledahn speech that the least, quote-unquote, were kept in the cage, implying that the prisoners were Baro. That was an outright lie. First, as she pointed out in the same speech, the Baro could link at will without need for books. Bars would have been no obstacle to them. Secondly, the prisoners of Teledahn were shown to be physically different from the Baro, both in their own drawing and in the tunnel, as well as in the baroglyphs in Ederkimo. Lastly, we know that the prisoners kept there were not Baro because Nick White, who worked with Douglas Sharper to translate his documents, said outright that they were not. The bones found in the cage that I'm standing in front of at the moment may have belonged to at least one of the unfortunate slaves that were trapped in this cage when the age was abandoned. There was also one or two human skulls here at one point, who may have been slavers who died when the age became infected during the fall of Denis.
I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Could the slave the slave trades could the prisoners be hung up and then use the prisoners as pressure plates? Like you would use the weights like a counterweight, but you would use the prisoners to have that pressure.
No, because that just does not make any sense whatsoever for anyone them to have any mechanism in a prison cage for the prisoners to open that cage from the inside. That's why I suspect that it was definitely that it was probably Yisha who had those pressure plates installed, because she was the only one who had any reason to want people inside the cage to be able to open up the door from inside.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. This, of course, was a room where they would have brought the prisoners to when they were getting them ready to be transported to where they could be viewed by the potential buyers. And for that reason, you will notice that over on this shelf over here, there is a leftover set of manacles. Okay, walking outside to the entrance to the cave.
Also, to let you know, we're 30 minutes before the tour.
Yeah. This area out here at the entrance of the cave is the part that would have been familiar to Guildmaster Hinosh when he was given the age. Out here, you'll notice that the walkways were all made of wood, and which makes are much more rustic than the metal catwalks that were put in for the spore harvesting operation of Guild Captain Ventus. When you come into this bridge over the water down here past the spore dispensers, if you look out through this gap in the mountain, you'll be able to see the tower where they collected energy to operate the machinery. This is actually off to one side of the main lagoon and is connected to it by this channel of water. And over here, this is the area that would have been most familiar to Lord Hinosh, more than likely. I have a suspicion that this is where his original descriptive book for the age would have probably linked here. And then he used the wooden walkways to get into that side channel to look at the waterfall at the end of it. The other thing you'll notice here is the tower that has 2 rooms in it, carved out of it, is also a giant mushroom stem or stalk. This and the cap on it also fell off and is lying in the water right next to it. But because, unlike the giant stem where the main rooms are located in the lagoon, the top on this is open, and so they needed something to cover it. So what they did here is built a mushroom cap out of canvas and metal, and a metal framework. So if you look up at there, that fake mushroom cap is still up there. I mentioned that over near the waterfall, in that little side branch of the lagoon, is where the dock that you pick up the dock Relto page from is over near the waterfall, and it's visible from the exit of the slave cave. Its only notable feature is a pair of broken feeding feeding machines that would have dispensed spores. The only way to get to that broken walkway is, of course, by means of a borrowed stone from the city. Okay. There are 2 rooms in the mushroom stem that we're next to. The bottom room appears to have been a storage room for supplies and equipment for the spore harvesting operation that the Guild of Caterers ran. But there is another administrative office above it, which would have been most likely here for the harbor master. Nearby through tunnels is a catwalk leading to a dock where the harvested spores were loaded onto boats for transport to the Central Guild processing area. Monesmo used that upper office as a secret meeting room where he could show slaves to the hunting club from Rebek. He installed a camouflage door to hide the stairway up to the office. Inside the office, there are chains and manacles where slaves would be shackled for inspection by the prospective buyers. Murfak, if you can take us up to the office, please. Oh, I see that there's a question from Acrophile Explorer. Could the least mean anyone the Denis thought of as lesser than themselves, whether Barrow or others? And the answer to that is that the phrase the least is a specific is a reference from Words of the Watcher, a book of prophecy that they invested a great store into. The in words, the least could have meant the lowest class of Denis society, but Yisha chose to interpret that phrase as meaning the Barrows specifically. Goodbye, Robert Holt. Anyway, so it at least when Yisha uses it, she always uses it to mean specifically the Barrow. Okay. If you look at the ceiling right over here, you will see that there is a pair of manacles hanging from the ceiling, and then there are leg irons down on the floor underneath them. And you'll see that there is a desk over here, and behind the desk, this is where that copy of the map is that I showed you earlier. when you look at the map, notice that in the lower right-hand corner, there is an island with a drawing of a maintainer in heavy environmental armor next to it. A dot on it, and broken line concentric circles radiating out from it. Also near the island is a drawing of a rock tower that seems to be the nest of some sort of flying creature. On the right and lower left of the map are drawings of creatures that seem to be much larger than Shroomy. Her species is shown at least 4 places on the map. Both of the other critters are shown as having predatory characteristics, and that would probably explain why it is that Shroomy's species have such heavy armor and spiked defenses all over them. Shown in 2 areas are towering objects that could be buildings. As it was, this office would have been used by the Denis to monitor the harbor during the spore harvesting operation. It would have been used by Monesmo to show off slaves, and it was used by Douglas Sharper when he was working in this part of the age. Okay, you can join me down on the lower floor using the Find Larry command to the Mirabot, or else you can just walk down the stairs like I did. The storage room on this floor is where Sharper kept his supplies for restoring the age. He seems to have put a number of charts and drawings up on the walls of the room. Copies of the same papers can be found in the Baron City office on Agar Island, the secret location where Sharper kept things he didn't want the DRC to see. So far, the purposes of most of the images have not been identified by explorers because the writing on them is illegible. 2 of the charts have a kind of trident symbol in red, and what or who it represents is unknown. Exiting this particular room by going up the stairs, we will end up in a tunnel dug by the Denis to access the other parts of the area. And this tunnel is where the Guild of Maintainers put their marker to show that the age had been inspected and was officially approved. From that marker, we'll go ahead down the tunnel to the dock. In this bay below the harbor office, the Denis built a metal catwalk ending in a boat dock. Next to the dock, the giant device is there to separate the spores from the water that had been pumped from the saturation basin in the central mushroom. Many explorers have commented that it looks like a gigantic handheld hairdryer. If you look down below the dock, you will see that there is a pipe that comes out, bends, and then goes over to the base of the separator. That pipe delivered the water that had the spores in it to the separator, and the machine filtered the spores out of the water. The separated water was dumped into the harbor, and the spores passed through that short tube coming off the end of it, and would have been dumped into the cargo hold of a boat that would have been tied up along underneath it. We don't know what the boats that docked here would have looked like, since none were left behind in this harvesting area. We can only guess that any that remain might all be in the central processing area the red marking on the map might represent. The air cannon on the dock was installed by Douglas Sharper. This is what he wrote about it in his journal. 6101. Back to work here. I'm installing a gun of some kind down on the docks. It's a Denis mining instrument, I believe. Regardless, the DRC, of all people, want it set up. Strange. 6:30:01. Gun is up. Not working, but up. Laxman will have to get it working, or at least give it a shot. Not familiar enough with this kind of Denis technology. 11:3:01. Victor can't get to the gun for a long time. In fact, DRC wants the whole thing taken out now. Fine by me. 6:25:03. Finally got the gun up and working. Laxman is getting better every day. The guy is a genius. Watson stopped by as well to see it working, although he seemed more concerned with me cleaning up the scrap than the gun itself. Typical DRC. And that's all that was written about the cannon. There is no reason given for why it was installed here, and what purpose the DRC may have intended it for it to serve. Yisha obviously was quite happy to put it to use in her own plans. Let's see, we have 10 minutes left. Murfact, can you go ahead and bring Shroomy in for us? Since we're just about at the end of today's tour, we'll be picking this up again next month, and I'll give you an overview from start to finish as to how the spore harvesting operation actually worked.
We do have a question from the Twitch that says, could the least mean...
Yeah, I answered that one already.
Okay.
I'll also be talking about the animals of the age next month. But for now, I want to show you Shroomy up close. So hopefully Murphac will get that done soon. Cave Woman asks, why were the spores harvested? And that's because they're quite tasty. The Denis liked the flavor quite a bit. And so Lord Guildmaster Hinash of the Caterers, when he discovered that, used them as flavoring for a kind of bread that was extremely popular.
Speaking of that bread, I actually decided to create that in real life at one point too. So there's a recipe on Gourmet Gaming that you can go and create the Teledahn bread.
Except it wouldn't be quite the same, because that's I'm guessing that their recipe probably calls for actual mushrooms, whereas in the in Teledahn, in game lore, they just use the spores from the giant mushrooms, not the mushrooms themselves. Murphac, you can't bring in Shroomy?
I see it, but seems you don't.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm not seeing it at all. Shroomy is only ever seen in the distance, which is why we always try to bring it in up close during the tours. Scott Miller, one place that you can see her, if not at a very small scale, is in the office in the central Mushrooms Tower. On the desk there, Douglas Sharper had a model of the Shroomy, which is exactly the same model that's used for the full-sized one here in the game. The way that you're supposed to be able to see her, we'll be talking about that next
do
month.
You see where I am?
Caver.
Or not?
I see her.
Let's see. I don't. Let me. I don't think I'm seeing him.
He's out in the corner on the
Okay.
mountain on the left side, in the distance.
Shroomy should be under me.
I'm stuck. I can't move anywhere.
Oh yeah. I just typed in find Larry to get my own stuck.
I put only, so it's a bit
Oh well,
quite
it's
work to
getting.
me.
We're just about out of time, so we'll try it again next month. So
All right.
that'll give people another reason to come back and catch the rest of the tour. Anyway, that's it for now. We're going to go ahead and chop it off at this point. And oh, wait a minute. What's this?
I moved everyone where I am.
Yes. Okay.
I see Shroomy under me, but as I see you can't.
Right. Yeah, some sort of a glitch going on here. In any case, yeah.
I'll close it out.
Go ahead and close it. And
thank you for
and...
everyone coming to the Cavern Tours. Thank you for Larry and Arte being our historians, and Mirfok for being our bot to be able to go to these places. Join us next time where we'll continue the tour. And then I believe, and me and Susan being your hosts as well, as I believe Larry has some upcoming events and Arte has some upcoming events too.
Well, I don't, but
or the Cavern events.
Excuse me. I am trying to bring that up. Oh, here we go. There's that. There we go. Up in the stream window, I now have the list of the events for today here in the cavern. So, Arte, there isn't a story night today?
Yes, there is a story night. It just a little miscommunication, but yes, there is a story night. It'll be in an hour. Sorry, what was that, Murph?
Why Shroomy is invisible for everyone?
I just saw Shroomy off in the direction I'm about to point. Is that where she was?
Yeah, still not showing up in my game. Anyway.
It's like a shadow, but at any rate,
story night.
Tonight is the last installment of the Game Tap era restoration that occurred between 2006 and 2008. There will be no story next week or the week after because, like Rawa, I am moving on the surface. So, but StoryNet will return after today's story. StoryNet will return in 3 weeks with the special 5-part story night that is at the end of the series.
Time and location.
Time is 1400 key time, and location is Sano's Hood. I'll put that in the local chat.
Okay. And then you're going to do another later one, right?
And then it'll be repeated. Then it'll be repeated at 2330 key time. Same place, Sano's Hood.
Of course, we always have the karaoke. Oh, it looks like they changed the time. Unless this is wrong.
You may have the wrong announcement up.
No, this is March. March 23rd, so that's definitely today.
It may have been updated though since you
That's
got
a
the screen
possibility,
capture.
because that sounds like the wrong time. They usually have it around, I believe, 1600 key time, karaoke.
Yes.
But okay,
15 key.
but at least the location and the number for the web address is still it's going to be right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I do believe that that's it for us. So
Yeah.
oh, Neva's saying that that the karaoke did change the time.
Oh.
In which case that would have conflicted with the tour. So I'm not quite sure why they would have done that. In any case, that's it, everyone. We will... Wait a minute. Oh, there's Shroomy.
Oh, you see it now?
Yeah.
Yep.
She snuck up behind us.
Look at giant insect.
Let me go ahead and turn my game back on. Let's see if I can get a better look at her. I'm looking over here. Whoops. She just... Oh, there we go. Oh, you animated her. Okay. So needless to say, this is much closer than you'll ever see her normally.
All right.
Giant arthropods like Shroomy actually are partially carnivorous. They are very fond of giant mushrooms, but they also eat the flappers. And that's what the feeding machines are there for. They spray spores up into the air. The spores attract activity from the flappers, and it's the flappers' activity that attracts Shroomy.
Minnesunda crashed. She said that Shroomy ate her.
Okay.
All right, folks, I got to big out. I got to get set up for my story night. So,
and
take
that's
care,
it
everybody.
and that's it for the tour, everyone. So, I'm going to go ahead and kill the stream.